but you walked away when I needed you most.
You know, I wish I liked Cher more than I do. I kind of thought this was nothing the first time I heard it, but you know, I listened to it again and you know, I can see it does have a nice power to it, some intensity to it, and I can totally understand why Cher is a household name. Fun fact, Cher performed this on Letterman at the same day that Sonny Bono was a guest. And it was on that same episode they did a duet of I Got You Babe, and it was the last time they ever performed together. I'm pretty sure, yeah, 88, that was the year Sonny became mayor of Palm Springs. And like, I gotta admit, as a music fan, you know, watching this couple, you know, they were big, now they're kind of amicable together. I don't know, it's like watching a boat sink. So I don't know, watching this in 2017, it's like watching a boat sink, and you know people are gonna die, but you can't do anything about it. It's just kind of tragic to see how it ended up. I don't know, I cried a little bit watching this performance, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is some solid upbeat rhythm and blues to it, but I can't help but feel that it has a lack of nutrition that I feel like the flavor doesn't entirely compensate for. Does it make me a bad person to say that Poison was alright? I think so. You know, beyond the sort of glam over the topness, I do like Poison, if I'm being honest. Now this is the kind of song that does have a nice blue collar, you know, I work hard, now I just want to, you know, get partying moral to it. Now I'm not going to say it strikes the same nerve that Mellencamp has, or that it's even on the same level as a lot of country songs, but I understand this feeling, you know. This song, I think, serves a great purpose. I think this is a pretty good anthem, if you ask me.
You said you'd meet me, now it's 1:45. I know I'm hanging, but
you know, at number 85 on the list, this was such a welcome entry after the slow ballads I had to check through. Joan Jett is a badass, and this is the kind of solid hard rock music that made her an icon. If I had to give some criticisms for it, I'd say it's maybe a bit too tame. You know, songs like I Love Rock and Roll, which just have minimalist, just bite to them, or Bad Reputation, which is all in your face with, you know, just intense, pissed off, screw you, I'm awesome message to it. But I don't know, saying a song isn't as good as those isn't fair to anything. This is a good song, even if it's not the best Joan Jett song. I like this song and all, but I can't help but deduct points because it's indicative of the Van Hagar era's affinity for power ballads, and it's just, you know, I can't really say I endorse all the decisions of the Van Hagar era, is what I'm trying to say. Taking it as his own song, you know, honestly, it isn't that bad. I do like the chorus, you know, Hagar does have belting vocals, he's a good singer, talking about, you know, emotions and stuff.
maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should.
So this is a cover of the song Always on My Mind, a song most people know as being sung by Elvis, but my family knows as being sung by Willie Nelson, because we're Texan. A lot of my family loves this song. They think it's super romantic, but I've always felt it as kind of a half-hearted apology song. I can never like it based on the lyrics, which just come off as just some sort of this half-assed apology that doesn't really make up for anything except saying, oh, I'm sorry I disappointed you, but I was always thinking of you. And, you know, maybe it's human to admit flaws. I could never get into it. But Pet Shop Boys did a cover of it that was meant for the dance charts. And if I'm being honest, the song reminds me of Blue Monday 1988, which I'm really pissed off isn't on this list, or that it went very high on the Hot 100 at all. I love. It sort of works as sort of this gothic, dark dance tune. You know, it's got dark beats, but it's still upbeat. It's got a good tempo. The lyrics and the vocals are kind of gloomy. I don't know how to make heads or tails of this song. I'm inclined to like it, but the more I think about it, the less it works. I'm definitely putting it in the latter half because, you know, hey, because I do like it more than I dislike it, and I want to avenge Blue Monday 88 for not being on this list.
If a boy had a chance with someone like you.
I really do like these little bit of lyrics about unrequited love. It's got a good beat. The energy isn't melatonin inducing. It's kind of sad that 1988, you know, you saw a lot of new wave acts dying. I actually like new wave a lot. I can't help but wonder if I wouldn't like it more if it were made in the 90s, or if they did it as a straight new wave song, you know, early 80s embrace of it. I think it might work better that way, if I'm being honest.
You may think I'm fooling for the foolish things I do.
This is a cover of a Bruce Springsteen song, and I think she's better at it than he is. The song has a real let's go out and party vibe that wasn't delivered quite so well with Springsteen singing. You know, it's the same song, it's the same lyrics, but somehow they're telling different stories, and I find Natalie Cole's story a lot more interesting than Bruce Springsteen's.
You never make me stay, so take your weight off of me. I know your every move, so won't you just let me be?
Okay, yeah, this is not my first choice for a Michael Jackson song, but you know, come on, he's the king of pop. The song has a lot of intensity to do it. It's hard really to say anything bad about it, and it's definitely memorable.
While those around you crawl.
I know I've spent this entire video shitting all over soft ballads, but you know, Elton John and Bernie Taupin, they're geniuses. I will hear nothing to the contrary. This is not even my favorite song of his by any means, but it's beautiful, it's emotionally intense, it's an awesome tribute. Okay, a little behind the scenes, while I was doing this list, I had gotten the news that my favorite professor from my old college had died, so I was in some pretty intense grief during the writing and the production of this video. I'm still not entirely over it. And I guess it was that, you know, personal experience that I could finally understand why the '97 version of this for Diana's funeral became such a legend. You know, it's an incredible tribute song, but I don't know if it's a song that I actively want to go out and listen to.
Emotion overload in the heat of play.
I really don't know what to say about this one. It's, you know, typical 80s dance pop, but I do like the tight production here. That kind of, yeah, that elevates it a little bit more.
Everybody's doing a brand new dance now. Come on, baby.
You know, I don't know what I'm more surprised by. A song that is so blatantly trying to create a dance craze and then failed into obscurity, or the fact that I actually kind of love it. Cheesiness aside, it's super charming, it's upbeat and catchy. How dare you, Kylie, create a song like this?
When you make love, do you look in your mirror?
You know, I did not know Def Leppard made a power ballad. I kept listening to this, hoping that it would surprise me and then turn into an awesome song like Foolin', but I didn't, and I was disappointed. Again, like I said, there's Def Leppard trying to crawl out of this. If you like Def Leppard, there's something salvageable here. Come on, it's Bon Jovi. It's solid 80s rock music. You either like it or... Who am I kidding? You like it. You all like it.
Say, are you satisfied?
Yes. This song, also known as Not Never Gonna Give You Up. Part of me likes Together Forever better than Never Gonna Give You Up because, you know, of the lack of overplay and the gut reaction against it. There's a part of me that still associates it with that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know, I read this song helped revive Dusty Springfield's career, and by the way, Dusty Springfield, British. I discovered that doing this research, and I feel betrayed. I feel like my dad pulled off a mask and he turned into an alien. Okay, I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this. These are two strange tastes that kind of taste great together. You know, Dusty Springfield's old-fashioned charm with Pet Shop Boys' sort of new wavy pop feel. It kind of tastes like peanut butter and vodka.
Here I come, catch me, I'm falling.
You know, most of this song is kind of okay, but man, that hook. That hook is incredible. It's probably one of the best on this list, and it's, oh my god, I love it so much. I will admit, I do kind of like the imagery of Catch Me, I'm Falling in Love. It's just, oh my, it's good. It's amazing.
Don't look down, there's a monkey on your back. Watch out, baby, who's that? Don't look down, there's a...
You know, this is way better than a song that repeatedly shouts monkey at you has any right to be. To be fair, now, George Michael can do whatever the hell he wants. This is one of those dance songs that kind of has a message to it. You know, monkey, you know, it's pretty easy to decode that. You know, it's about addiction and trying to get your lover off of it.
I watch you move across the moonlit room.
You know, this song honestly comes off a little bit more spacey than dull. I find it a nice touch. It's got a lot I don't like about the, you know, 80s era AC ballads. I think I can forgive it because it seems to be actually, you know, because it seems to be a much more ambitious song than a lot of AC ballads. Now this is good. I like it. It's got energy. I'm surprised it's not one of MJ's bigger songs. And this is probably the best example of MJ's keys that he is rather infamous for.
Again. Boy, I'm wondering why this is not a game of love.
It's freestyle dance pop, yes, but I can honestly see what sets this song apart. You know, it's formulaic, but it has very good ingredients to it. And yeah, I'm surprised it isn't more popular. I don't know how I feel about being told to shake my love, though. I don't know what my love is supposed to be.
Fantasies, I can get you out of my head. I've been waiting.
Like I said, I was never a Whitney Houston fan, but it's really hard to hate this. This makes the best case for her if you're talking to someone like me about it. This is good.
Sleepless nights, and I can't wait to see you again.
You know, I tell myself that Whitesnake sucks, but I can never believe it. You know, at least they're power ballads, they're memorable, they're pretty functional. They're actually kind of good.
In the nighttime, and some seem like yesterday, but leaves.
This is a nice song about disappointments, and I honestly don't mind this at all. Part of me kind of wishes those, you know, sort of psycho violins in the verses led up to a more intense chorus. I wanted to say this song charted on the Black Singles chart, which we had in 1988. And I'm pretty sure none of the members in this band are black. To my knowledge, they're all either white or Hispanic. And the Hispanic, that's stretching it a little bit.
You got plans to make me wanna 4 or 5. I guess it's kind of...
You know, I really like MTV era Elton John. He transitioned into it a lot better than he had a right to. You know, he was this kind of older fellow. He had a lot of experience doing music in the 70s, so it just seems like he came on the scene with a sense of confidence. Like, you know, he knew a lot more than these youngins. And there were a lot of artists who went into the 80s, sort of changed their sound for the MTV era, and they didn't do it very well. But I don't know, Elton John, he does it seamlessly, if you ask me. I have no idea what sets him apart from the others, but some of my favorite EJ songs are from the MTV era.
I've been told time and time again that you can't treat love like.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I like the song a lot because of Sam Fox's personality. This is style over substance by far, but it's damned good style. You know, that dyed hair, that black clothing, there's that breakdown where she's got a suddenly very sharp British accent. You know, this is an act that clearly wanted to stand over the cleaner images of Debbie Gibson, Tiffany, and Whitney Houston at the time. Although, and I'm pretty sure this is the 80s equivalent of Too Edgy. I'm sure everyone looked at this in the 80s the same way that we look at Too Edgy today, and that doesn't make me very comfortable. Now, to be fair, we didn't have the internet in the 80s, so it's not like there was a big Too Edgy community gathering together ruining the rest of our lives. So this was probably some of the only exposure that this style had ever gotten on MTV, and you know what? That's awesome. Now, Sam Fox strikes me as one of the original rebels. Well, or the record label would, anyway.
They say in heaven, love comes first.
I'm gonna be honest, this song is a real guilty pleasure for me. I mean, it has a wonderful hook, yeah, but it's delightfully cheerful and not in a way that comes off as insincere. It's got a surprising control that doesn't seem to overwhelm you. You know, compare that to some of the Rick Astley bubblegum of just, loud, loud, loud. This is a well-composed song, and it's, it's great production. Oh, Belinda Carlisle, you are good.
I can't help remember just when she...
Now, this song was allegedly written about Valerie Carter, a singer-songwriter who was suffering a drug addiction at the time, and she was in the risk of losing her career. So Steve Winwood wrote this song, for her. And, I don't know, one friend helping another one with a song out, it just comes off as, really sweet and nice. And, those synth beats at the end of the chorus, they just come off as really hopeful and optimistic. It's great. But the version of this song that I listened to is a remix. Yeah, this song was originally released in 1982, but it got released, so many years later as a single and a remix. I'm not sure what spurned it, but I like it. I like it a lot.
I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you.
Minimalism is very, very tricky to do right. I'm partially of the opinion that this song is genius, and partially that it is a complete disaster. I think the whole works better than the sum of its parts. I had no idea this song was performed by a former Beatle, and my favorite Beatle nonetheless, until I was doing research for this. That's probably not a good sign for how the solo careers of the Beatles went, particularly going into the 80s. But I'm going to lean toward this being, really good because, George Harrison, he has an ear for sound. I think he knew what he was doing when he covered this. I think it's really good. I like it a lot. I end up singing it in my head so much. I honestly, I like this. I like this.
Wanna make a change for once in my life.
As far as charity-esque, first world guilt trip, what about the African, pay attention to the world songs? This song has the benefit of not being so much about troubles in other parts of the world, and instead it's more about an ode to personal growth. This song doesn't come off as condescending because I don't get the feeling that MJ feels so immune from this. When he says, if you gotta change yourself, look at the man in the mirror first. And yeah, I don't know, part of that comes off as confrontational, but I don't really get it from MJ as I would from the, tell the protagonist why they suck rant in the third act of the movie. There's a part of me that feels a little bad for liking the song, and there's another part that hates that half for being such a cynical little bastard. This is a nice song. I'm glad Michael Jackson used his position of influence to try to change people's hearts and minds, and to try to make the world a better place.
Get into my car.
Oh man, fuck you, Billy Ocean. This is a song about catcalling, basically, but you made it amazing. You inspired an army of douchebags who don't have your charm or talent. I don't really feel comfortable putting it any higher on the list just for that reason. If you ask me, Billy Ocean, he's incredible. He's allowed to do stuff like this. I asked a lot of people, they seem to have a very high opinion of this song. But like I said, the subject matter makes me a little uncomfortable. But man, does Billy Ocean just sell it.
Maybe we make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better.
You know what I like about this song? It has a very Born to Run sentiment. but from the point of view of from people who are actually from small towns and have self-esteem issues. You know, like in Born to Run, Bruce Springsteen calls New Jersey a suicide shack, and it's not a suicide shack. You live near Philadelphia and New York, two of the biggest cities in the country. I want you to come to South Texas and I'll fucking show you what hopelessness feels like. This is why John Mellencamp kicks your ass, Bruce Springsteen.
I lived on the outskirts of town in a 8-room farmhouse, baby.
Oh, well, speaking of Mellencamp, yeah, this is the kind of song that sort of makes you feel proud from where you came from. Mellencamp came from a rural area, small towns, and, you know, this is the song that sort of waxes nostalgic about, you know, good times that he had in his childhood. You know, just doing that rural thing. I absolutely adore, you know, the little heartland rock thing he does. There's violin and accordion in this music that makes the song feel like such a delight, like such a joyous time to be had. And yeah, there's probably too much nostalgia here to be a healthy musical meaning, but you know, this is a nice and delicious song, so I feel like, you know, you get that extra helping if you ask me.
Heavy's like a bomb, baby, come and get it on. Living like a lover with a red iPhone. Looking.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to put this song higher on the list despite that Richard Marx song from way back in the video. Although this song actually did wind up higher on the Billboard year-end chart, so, you know, I guess Def Leppard had the last laugh. This song honestly does hold up if you ask me, even if it does feel like a lot kind of strip clubby. You know, like, you have to think of this as a piece of art and not just some generic jock jam or something that white people listen to at barbecues. You know, this is a good song. Trying to, you know, erase any bad associations. Give it an honest listen. It's a good song.
If you can't come around, at least please telephone. Don't be cool.
So this is the other song named Don't Be Cruel, and man, Bobby Brown sucks. Yeah, this is the one that was a cover of the Elvis Presley classic, and you know, Cheap Trick, they're the kind of band that can do it justice. I'm really surprised that this song ended up a hit, but I'm so glad it was. It's a worthy cover that demonstrates a knowledge of what made that old, you know, rockabilly Elvis era music so enjoyable. You know, this just might be the weirdest song on the list, actually. I ended up liking it a lot.
I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's.
And this song is a perfect mash of new wave and dance pop. Yeah, I did grow up in a family that liked new wave a lot. Maybe I'm biased in favor of the genre, but I like the energy here a lot. The little, you know, Leonard Nimoy sample, and the charismatic dorkiness of Information Society. Man, I just love finding out new stuff about this band. They might not have the cred of Devo, but I'm glad these guys exist. This is the band that put a text file on a vinyl record and put it in a track that was just a bunch of instructions for how to set your modem. This band is amazing, and I love them so much.
Well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body.
I like this song, like, a lot. It does make me a little uncomfortable knowing how much George Michael kind of resented it. Like, my favorite George Michael song of all time is, no question, Freedom 90. And, yeah, though that kind of song was about how much he hated Faith and, you know, the reputation it made him as, and how he wanted to be taken seriously again. And it is not subtle about it, especially the music video. But honestly, and as awesome as I think Freedom 90 is, I hope it doesn't betray its meaning to say that I actually don't think Faith is that bad. I like it a lot. It stands up as its own work. It's a nice little song. It's not too overbearing, even though it is pretty cheesy. And there are a lot of George Michael songs on this list. Okay, he did have a diverse career, you know. Even though this was the #1 song of the year, yeah, this is the biggest pop song of the year, I don't feel like Faith defined George Michael in any harmful way that I don't have to feel guilty for liking it. Man, you know, George Michael did pass recently as of writing, recording this. Oh man, I'm so glad I did this. I needed to understand and appreciate just how good his music was.
Aruba, Jamaica, ooh, I wanna take you, Bermuda, Bahama.
Before you say anything, I just want to say this song holds up. It is a better song than a band most famous in the 60s releasing music in the late 80s has any right to be. I don't know why I like it so much. It reminds me of what I feel is the most romantic song ever written, Fishing in the Dark by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Now, this song is a lot less about the other person, and it's a lot more about falling in love due to the atmosphere you're in. It's inviting instead of overbearing, which I find a lot of love songs to be like. And, you know, this song works in the same way. I find it a lot more substantive than a lot of songs about how awesome the islands and the beach are. It's a song about the beauty of the place you're at and the location, and falling in love based on your surroundings. I think it's great. I think it's great. I will defend this song. Calling this Jimmy Buffett-esque is an insult to the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys had a lot more substance to their sound than Jimmy Buffett ever did.
Live, baby, live. Now that the day is over.
If you hate INXS, you have no soul. And that's called foreshadowing. And that's called listen to INXS, damn it, they're really good.
See what's become of me while I looked around.
I have never heard this song before, and I don't know who let that happen. Listen to that monster riff. Apparently the song was pretty big back then. There's a part of me that feels it's too similar to those slow and somewhat brooding rock songs that I don't like today. I'm looking at you, Five Finger Duck Punch, you bastards. But, you know, the band, they have an energy to it that keeps it from being a slog. And now this is a hidden gem. This is a hidden gem if there ever was one. Oh, this is incredible. You know, could have been by Tiffany, kept this from being #1. I have no idea how that's possible. Who let that happen?
Can it be permissible?
Can I just say that Robert Palmer has a very underrated rock voice? Listen to that raw power, that intensity. It perfectly complements the powerful instrumental to it. He just makes it look so effortless, even though this is a music video and he's probably lip syncing. I like this one so much better than Addicted to Love, for the record.
In your eyes, for just one moment.
Man, George Michael's music just oozed, you know, this raw, passionate sexuality, and it holds up. Humans suck for not appreciating him more when he was here, and I'm included in that category. I didn't know how awesome this song was until I actually listened to it and I studied it. I just want to say this was initially in the place of Faith, and Faith was up here, but yeah, a very smart person talked me out of it, so thank you, smart person. I would have looked like a dumbass. Oh man, you know, who would ever give that much praise to such a memetic song? What would that even be like? What would that even be like? I'll be so sure that I was gonna hate this one because, yeah, I just listened to about 12 AC ballads at this point. It started a similar way, but then it just began. You know, that smooth voice, you know, the melody that has some energy to it despite the somewhat slow BPM. And, you know, that self-harmonizing thing he does with his own voice. And yeah, this is slow, this is mellow, but it captures your attention. It's not boring. I don't even like R&B that much. This was such a joy to listen to. You know, lots of the songs on this list make me want to fall asleep, but this is the only song that whisks me away and invites me into a lovely, beautiful dream. Something serene and lovely.
47 deadbeats living in a back street, north, east, west, south, all.
I was not expecting this song on the list, to be honest. I made the Billboard 88 year chart, and being so high on this list. I know this is like the second thing people bring up when they talk about this song, but it's remarkably similar to Pump It Up by Elvis Costello, and I love Pump It Up by Elvis Costello. And I don't know if it counts against it because, you know, yeah, it does seem like they're trying to rip off a rhythm or for it because, let's face it, it's not terribly unique, this sort of fast talk sing thing. And it's not like we're getting other versions of Pump It Up. This is the closest thing to a Pump It Up sequel we're gonna get. Also, this song, it's terrible, but in an amazing way. This is such incredible cheese that it does hit. It seems to hit like all the right notes. This is a very meticulously made song. I don't know if maybe it's because I'm from the Southwest, but I can't lie to myself. I think this song is amazing.
She's got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories.
I've yet to meet a single person who has anything bad to say about Sweet Child of Mine. And why would they? It has just as much cred with the ballad crowd as the rock crowd. That riff is legendary, the energy is nice, the lyrics, they come off as very honest and very earnest. I remember seeing on some VH1 Classic special about how Axl Rose eventually married the woman he's talking about in this song, but they separated shortly after. Poor Axl does not have this shit together. Honestly, it adds kind of a tragic element to this song if I'm being honest. You know, this was the inception year for alternative rock, and in a year where pretty much none of it made it to the pop charts, at least not to this level. U2 was an amazing welcome on this list. And this has always been one of my favorite U2 songs. It's got that nice little Americana rhythm to it. I've always liked that harmonica, the rolling beats to it. If anything, I'm disappointed it's not higher on this list. I don't know what to tell you, it's just very good. This was the number 2 song of the year. And going into this list, I was so sure it would have been my number 1. I would have put money on it. Oh, but it's not. We have 3 more songs to go that I somehow thought were more deserving of praise than this. I don't know what to tell you. This is one of my favorite songs ever written. There's that sexy rock voice, those little drum patterns there they got. This song seems kind of pristine. Like, if you told me it was created by a machine instead of man, I would believe that.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I.
I don't know how to justify this. This piece of rapid-fire, intensive pop was the number 4 most popular song of 1988. And we turned it into a goddamn meme. You may think this is a song, but this is a meme. Is it possible for anyone to review the song objectively? Is it possible for me, someone young enough that I never know this song outside of the Rickrolling context, to think of it as an actual song instead of a meme, an internet phenomena? I'm willing to bet if you're around my age, most of you have never heard this song all the way through. I don't know how many of you feel like you even have to. You know, it says it all right there. And it kind of does. There's a chorus, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. It's fast, it's intense, it's cheesy, it's romantic, it's beautiful, it's amazing, it's charming, it's powerful. I love it. There's a gut reaction to disappointment upon hearing this song. It's like we're Pavlov's dogs, and this song has been ingrained to us that we will experience disappointment as a result of hearing this. Listen to the song outside of the context. I hate myself for doing this list and coming to this realization. This has to be my number 3 song on the list. I don't know how I could have pictured myself liking this more than Needing Tonight, but I do. The song is amazing. This song is honestly incredible. I implore you, listen to it. Give it a fair shake.
Kissing like a bandit, stealing time underneath.
Okay, after that a little bit of an essay down there, I think it's safe to say my number 2 song is a little less controversial. Probably a little bit surprising though. Listen, the more I listened to this song, the more I loved it. From that stellar little whistle hook, which I still whistle and I will never be able to stop whistling, to that great R&B voice that's just so smooth. Each time I listen to this song, I find something else to love about it. The song was about number 40 when I first heard it, and now it's as high as I could possibly put it after days of listening to it. This was as high as I could put it without unseating the undisputable top spot of the list. Honestly, listen to this song. I know I didn't treat that other Terrence Trent D'Arby song pretty well, but I knew that this was the song that he could have possibly recorded to get me in his good graces, and good graces I am in. So, what is the number 1 pop song of the year? Well, here it goes. The number 1 pop song of 1988, in my opinion, is...
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
You got memed. Okay, no, but for real, the number 1 song is... Okay, yeah, that kind of makes my drama about Need You Tonight not being number 1 a little less serious, but I wasn't expecting this. I forgot how awesome this song was. Okay, this song is pristine. I cannot think of any fault with it. You know, it starts out with this controlled and restrained little beat, and then the lyrics come in, and then the guitar comes in and takes over. I just love how big it sounds. I mean, yes, like on a, you know, anything level, this song is about sex. But if you told me this song was about demonic possession on a literal level, the evilness of humanity, I would believe it. It comes off as a song about demons trying to have fun, have a good time. It's deliciously evil. It's, oh my god, this song sounds so diabolical, but it's very hot, it's incredible. If there was a single song on this list without fault, it would have to be this one. I mean, like, I can hear people criticizing Need You Tonight because maybe it's a little too repetitive. Yeah, I mean, like, I can understand that, but this song is without fault. I can't recommend it enough. I cannot recommend Kick enough. It is a great album. It is classic 80s music. And while I play you off with Devil Inside, remember to do those YouTube things and do something. Give me ad revenue. I can't make videos if I'm dead.